Peace, people. What's going on? It's your boy, Alberto Sabio, author activist. Welcome to the premiere slash pilot episode of the Rough Draft video blog chronicling the adventures of different authors, myself included. I guess I'll start off this episode as my own personal writer's journey. I guess you could consider Rough Draft as kind of like an uncensored for authors. So here I am about to kick it off myself, my own personal journey. I've actually been published for 9 years. I was published in 2009. As far as my backstory, I've always been an artistic person ever since I was young. So it was either writing stories or drawing something out. I was getting always getting crazy with kind of like my own like action figures and stuff. Like I would spend hours making up stories in my mind or certain cartoons or something like that that I was watching as a kid. So I was always just into some sort of vivid other world. And I thought by the time I had reached junior high school, I'd found my calling. So I thought I wanted to work in like the comic book industry. That was about like the mid to late 80s. So I was between 86 and 88. But that dream kind of died a very horrible death because I compared my artwork to the comic books that I collected, and my artwork wasn't all that good. I mean, granted, I was a kid in junior high. I should have given myself a little bit more time to develop. But like I said, it was the mid to late 80s, and pretty much the only game in town was Marvel and DC. Image hadn't kicked off yet. Image didn't come around until about like what early 90s or something like that. Dark Horse wasn't really on there like that. Vertigo wasn't really on there like that. Valiant wasn't really popping off either. And Comico, they weren't doing any original characters or anything like that at the time either. So yeah, that didn't really go too far. So, kind of went into a little bit of a funk, and I didn't really find what I thought was my initial calling until about high school, say like mid to late junior year. So, and that was actually by accident because I went to a vocational high school, so we had a class project where we had to make an advertisements for something. I waited to the last minute to do my project, and it ended up actually being a commercial for a TV show, sitcom actually. And I did my assignment, handed it in. I actually got my assignment back like a week later. I actually got a pretty good grade on it. I think it was a B plus or something. And my teacher asked me like to speak to her after class, and so I mean, she praised it. She liked it. She thought it was a really, really, you say, good idea. I mean, it wasn't exactly what she wanted. She let me know it was supposed to actually be like a magazine advertisement, but still, I mean, it was an advertisement. So she thought it was very funny, very original. And her thing about it was, she asked me like, was I planning on going to college? And at that time, real talk, no. I was like, even if I went to college, I wouldn't know what to take. So she just said the magic words. Was like, well, if you do decide to go to college, and I really think you ought to go into film and television. I think you can go really far in that. So that started my initial journey. At that time, I was, like I said, I was in junior high school. I was 16 at the time. So I basically spent the next 16 years of my life working to be a screenwriter. I've actually written a number of different scripts. Feature length, uh, hour long dramas, a couple of anime TV shows. Unfortunately, none of my stuff got published at the time. So it was a number of ups and downs trying to get my foot into the door. I wanted to work in the industry, not for it. And if you don't understand what I mean when I say that, then you just not on my wavelength. And I don't mean that in any like negative way, but I mean that's real talk. Um, so that was about my early 30s when I finally decided to just be like, this is bullshit. I'm trying to get into this field. I'm not having much luck. I mean, did little things here or there, like little PBS TV shows, volunteering for film festivals, especially like independent black film festivals. That was cool, but you say as far as actually working in the industry, especially as a screenwriter, I'm just like I got burnt out. I'm in my early 30s and I wasn't getting anywhere. I was just like, man. So that was around 2000, the end of 2006. I was just like, I'm done. So I packed up and I left home. I'm originally from New York. So went from New York, moved to the South. Um, and really, real talk, I just like kind of started finding my way from there. Because I had started writing for an online magazine that no longer exists. So I wrote like political commentary on there. So wrote a couple of like essay series for these people, just talking about different specifically speaking on like Afro Latino issues and affairs. So I really just got into heavy into activism at that point. So online journalism, activism in the community. Because at the time I was living in Richmond, Virginia. So I just got heavily involved in my community. I was part of a particular cultural organization out there. Um, and that particular part lasted like almost 3 years. So from '06 to about '08, I was writing those online for those online magazines. Um, 2009, I basically like well, the end of 2008, I stopped writing for those online magazines. It was really one, but a couple of others shared some of my other works that I was doing. Um, 2009 was kind of like just a dead year because like after I'd stopped writing for the online magazine, I also left my organization because they were full of shit. And part of what I was doing as an activist was also focusing not just on like the cinematic arts, but also the literary arts. So I got to network with a lot of people who were like self-published writers, and so they were the ones who put me on to like put on the man publishing. So I'm like, you're saying no from my experience as a screenwriter. I'm like, wait, so I could actually cut out the middleman of you saying trying to get an agent to represent me to like get my shit done? Like, oh, word, okay. So by that time, end of 2009, going into 2010, I'm just like, I found my other passion, my other calling. So I'm just like, okay, I don't have to worry about telling my stories in a cinematic sense. I can tell them in a literary sense. So my first book was actually published in February 2010. So it's a bunch of political writings. It's called "Raise Your Brown Black Fist: The Political Shouts of an Angry Afro Latino." It was published through Author House in February 2010, and so that's actually how I started my journey. And so that's the first of 10 books that I've written so far. As of this video, it's 2019. So I've been published for 9 years. 10 books. Um, they're available in both paperback and digital format. All 10 are available in digital format. 9 of the 10 are available as paperback. My very first book, that's also available as a hardcover. So, I mean, in a nutshell, that's pretty much my journey. Um, I can do like what my first three books were nonfiction. Every other book after that has pretty much been fiction. One of my books is actually poetry. Well, it's poetry, rhyme, and verse. It's called Spitting Lyrics and Waxing Poetic. So that's available primarily online, only online, I should say, exclusively online. So if you got like Kindle, Nook, Kobo, or iTunes, that's available. It's available there. Most of my books are available in most distributors. So if you go to like Amazon.com, my stuff's there. Uh, BarnesandNobles.com or Barnes and Noble's website, it's there. My books are available. Books a Million website, my stuff's there too. And so I pretty much I like being a self-published or independently published author. I mean, you get to publish the books when you want. Um, as long as you take care of like the editing aspect of your book and the art, the cover art. I mean, you're saying it's really all up to you. And so for me, I really value that going that route as far as getting my words out to the public. Because like I said, I'd spent 16 years of my life trying to get my words um, produced as far as like film was concerned, and I couldn't get anybody to listen to my stuff. I mean, real talk, like if you were an actor, most people, because my stuff was character driven, they loved my work. But if you gave yourself the title of like director and producer, most people I had beef with. Because you're saying they were all in their ego because they gave themselves a job title they didn't deserve. And I'm just like, son, like I did my part, because honestly, like filmmaking and video production is a collaborative effort. Whereas, like, being an author, it's all on you. You know what I'm saying? What you want, you can put it up in there. I mean, obviously, if you're working with an editor, you'll say they might help you, might advise you to take certain things out, or you're saying, obviously, grammatical corrections and whatnot. But bottom line, as an author, you're the master of the story. I didn't have that same level of freedom when I was trying to do, you're saying, screenwriting, working in film and television. So I really enjoy um, being an independent author, being a published author, and having my words, you say, read by people, creating worlds for others, and having them enjoy those worlds that I've written. So hopefully you enjoyed this insight. Looking forward to producing another episode of the Rough Draft. And so I'll see you soon. Peace.